So now we're going to be getting into totems. We've talked about this before many times. You know, the totem is the way for you to be more intentional about your performance. Again, used by Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, and myself, of course. Sasha Fierce used her clothing that she wore as that totem. It harnesses the power of symbolic meaning and the psychological experience of wearing that item gets you consistently reminding yourself of, you know, how you want to be showing up. So in this part of lesson, we're going to find that totem that acts as the symbol for you, or for you to activate that alter ego. You know, and by the way, we live in a world filled with symbols already. You know, the human mind has this fantastic capacity to create this sense of meaning from virtually anything. Any object can hold some meaning, whether it's cultural or something that's intensely personal to someone. Your imagination has the ability to create vivid stories around seemingly super random items. I don't know if you've ever had someone who like lost something, and it can be like a pen, and you're like, why are they freaking out that they lost a pen? And it's because of what that pen or thing meant to them. So we can associate emotions, ideas, stories, and then for the purpose of us, also the actions of what that item is going to represent. So that totem also helps to embody that alter ego's superpowers. It's, you know, that origin story, or it's the, for the purpose of us, we're also using this as a way of honoring how we want to be showing up. That's why connecting emotionally and deeply to that alter ego is important, because again, whatever you associate yourself with, you will act through. So right now, most people are associating themselves with and through a specific identity. A lot of people are unwilling to give up that identity. They get something out of it. And those people aren't here. They wouldn't be in this program if they were like that. So now we're custom building that identity for ourselves. All right, so the power of enclothed cognition. Talked about the whole stories in the past of little kids that put on a Batman costume, and the moment that they put on the Batman costume, immediately developed more grit and perseverance. Talked about people who putting on lab coats, immediately developed careful, methodical, and detail-oriented attributes with the way that they approach things. People putting on glasses, immediately becoming more confident, more articulate, could be feeling like they're more smart than they were previously. Again, the power of just wearing something. So the totem gives your alter ego form and shape. So your alter ego is real, and it needs to be grounded in some sort of physical presence. So a totem engages more of your senses. You can feel, smell, taste, touch, and see the object that sparks possibly a visceral feeling in you. Your alter ego's totem or artifact is that bridge inside your imagination to the physical world of action. It's the anchor point for us. It's the trigger for us. So using your totem helps to train you to activate and be intentional about bringing and allowing the attributes and traits that are already nested inside you to come out with less friction. You know, the totem is just simply the thing that you're using to represent or connect your alter ego to that field of play. Just like I have that bracelet at home, it's playful, and so it grounds me into how I want to be showing up there. The glasses helped me to anchor myself into kind of business mode Todd as well. So a totem could be a Wonder Woman ring that you pick out for yourself, or a Wonder Woman bracelet, because it's embodying the kind of idea. We can't walk around with Batman capes on, I guess. Maybe you could. Whereas an artifact, just the difference between the two in the way that an artifact could be, actually does have more of a historical significance like your grandmother's ring, that would be more of an artifact. They're both doing the same purpose, but I think of artifacts having more kind of historical or personal story narrative attached to them to help you embody the traits and the values of your grandmother, if it was in that case. Okay, so I've discussed this before, where the three different types of totems or artifacts are things that you wear, things that you can carry with you. So it could be a pen, it could be a pebble in your pocket, it could be any one of those types of things, or something that's on the field itself, or the field of play on its own. So it's when you walk into a specific room, walk onto the stage, walk onto the field itself. That's where the alter ego might live and get activated when you get out there. Okay, so some ways to go on this specific quest is to think about setting an intention to, well, you got to set an intention to get your totem, to find it, go around your house, could be even looking for an item that you can use as your totem. Go shopping online, check out, possibly Etsy.com even for some unique artists that could make something custom for you if you needed to. Going out to a mall and seeing anything that could be used as a totem or an artifact to help activate. Athletes use the same socks or same types of socks, or something that you can create as a uniform that you just always wear that specific uniform. I know one of the powerful stories, because I've heard it a lot since the book's been out, from people in the military that have read the book, and they love the story of the gentleman that was struggling when he would go home from work, essentially being an Army officer, and would show up at home and would still carry those same attributes that he would display as I think he was a captain, if I'm not mistaken. No, he wasn't. Anyway, but now when he has this new uniform that he steps into when he goes home, golf shirt and a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts, depending on the time of year. But and he gives meaning to that uniform that he puts on. You can look at some other examples. So jewelry is one, shoes and socks, item of clothing, pebble, stone, could be even a crystal for some, cufflinks, pen, glasses, brooch, hat, cap, towel you use to wipe your face. Again, this is the power of the mind. You get to pick anything that's going to be working for you. And I couldn't even come up with an exhaustive list because, there's more ideas on the call from other people that you could be using. Chris says, can we use a physical motion as a totem? I'm considering a salute to serve here. Yeah, you can. Again, it's whatever's going to work for you. I'd said in one of the FAQ videos that I uploaded, one of the things that I've always tried to honor as someone that works with people on peak performance is I want to use already naturally occurring phenomenon inside of my clients' minds, inside of just the human condition, to help draw a better level of performance out. So enclothed cognition is naturally occurring. When we wear something that we have a narrative or we attribute some story to it and it's positive, especially towards the task at hand, right? Like put on the lab coat and we're doing something that's detail oriented or methodical or careful or, sort of smarts wise, then let's use that. So I say this just as a caveat because absolutely you can use whatever you want. I'm just trying to give you the greatest likelihood of success, probability of success. I've said this before. The most powerful of all the totems is something that you can wear because of the power of enclosed cognition. All of the other ones that you would use would be about tapping into intention. So it's the client of mine who has and is trying to level up his leadership skills, and he keeps that pebble in his pocket, in his left pocket. And the moment he has a conversation with his team members or his executive team, he grabs that pebble out of his left pocket and he moves it into his right pocket. And that's him just making the switch and being very intentional that he wants to show up as a powerful leader. And that pebble is pulled from his family's farm, and he wants to be honoring the values of his family. So that's kind of the sequencing, right? Like if we were going through all these questions with him, it's like, well, when we get to that core drivers layer, he very much naturally is attached to the deep meaning of what it means to be, I'll use the word smith, to be a smith. And so when he's pulling that pebble over, he is now acting, because again, when you attach your goals or the things that you're moving towards to something that's bigger than you, it naturally draws out, for most people, a higher level of motivation, which creates momentum. So when he does that, it's him. There's no way that he would dishonor his family and the Smith name while that pebble is in his right pocket, as a leader, and not default back into some of his normal behaviors, which is very much he's not an abrasive person, but he's a tough personality. So that helps him get out of his own way and create a better result for himself. So again, that's now using intention, but not enclosed cognition. There's no enclosed cognition that's there. The more and more you use it, though, you are enclothing that item in the cognitive traits that you most want to adopt. But that takes a little bit of time to do that. Same thing with the field of play thing. That alter ego that might be living out there, and just like Bo Jackson, heel to toe motion, and it comes alive, that takes some deliberate action. Whereas just using something that naturally already carries with it the attributes and traits that you most want, a little bit less friction. Okay, but great question, Chris. Appreciate that. So John says, yeah, if you wear glasses all the time, they're usually not a good totem, because yeah, that's right. Unless you have a different pair of glasses that you put on. Seth Godin does this a lot, where he's got many types of glasses, and I haven't talked to him about it, but he's got purple rimmed and red rimmed and all that. Like, you could actually get different types of glasses that you could be using to activate different types of selves for you. If you need to be wearing glasses, it's a powerful way to be activating a different you in that moment. So just a little test here. You got to have something that symbolizes something to you. Don't have to, but you need to find something that is emotionally resonant, especially on the first two categories of a totem, right? Something you wear, or something you have with you. Indirect or direct connection to your alter ego, or no connection to it, but you have to attach the meaning to it. You can always use it on your field of play, either quickly taking it on or taking it off, so that you can reset yourself. You can put in or take out, you can twist, you can turn, you can step onto or off of. One that I actually haven't talked about very often, but when I played, I was a nationally ranked badminton player, and I had a kind of this ritual and routine that I would take this towel and I would go and I'd wet it down in the locker room in the sink, and then I folded it up in a very specific way, and I'd put it onto the side of the court, and it carried practical purpose, because I would go and I'd step on it in order to moisten up the bottom of my feet so I had better grip. But what people didn't see was that when I would go to it, I imagined it as my energy mat, and that was me connecting into a powerful field of energy, and I was re-energizing myself. And it was grounding me back into, like, if I had lost several points in a row, it's grounding me back into like mastering my inner game in that moment. So tips for getting the absolute most out of this. You don't need to wear or carry this totem all the time. I don't wear the glasses all the time, or I didn't need to wear those glasses, or didn't try to wear those glasses all the time. I don't wear the glasses around my kids. Now that I'm wearing them just for dress, it really doesn't matter to me. But I like being very intentional about how I'm showing up in life. Don't give it away or lend it. Don't give it away or lend it. The amount of people that have followed up with me and saying, "Oh my God, I let someone borrow my blah." Don't. If you have a pen and someone needs to borrow your pen, just you can say no. It's okay. You can say no. Keep it a secret. That's one thing. Your totem is something private to you. You're using it as a way of activating that heroic self. Choose something you have a strong positive association with. Again, this goes back to the person who asked the question about Louis C.K. You don't have a positive association with it. It's too blended. Don't use it. If you were able to dissect and pull out aspects, that's fine, but it sounds like you got too much of a hang up with it. Believe your alter ego lives inside your totem or artifact. That's what is power. Is like when you're putting those glasses on, it's like I'm truly bringing that entire excuse me, that entire group of attributes and traits and superpowers into my being when I do that. It's that kind of idea of it's your own personal genie in a bottle. All right. So now we've gotten to clearing up or finding that totem and that artifact. And again, you can experiment. You can use one thing. You can use two things. You could, continue to find the one that's going to be right for you. Julie, it's like on timing. Julie says, is it important to have only one totem for one alter ego? I don't think so. Again, no rules. I like the idea starting out as having sort of one identifiable thing. But when you think of like the superheroes that are out there, they would have many parts of their costume. There's the cape part, there's Thor's hammer that goes along with it. So it could be that you've got a uniform, but then that you use in business, but then when you go into sales mode, then the glasses go on, or the ring goes on, or the bracelet or the necklace goes on, or whatever it might be. The pebble comes from this pocket to that pocket, or there's no. I don't want to place a rule around this, because again, I want to be honoring the fact that, gang, this is all coming from our creative imagination. Something that is still a massive mystery to us, and it's the great superpower and hero or superpower quality that we've all been gifted with, but we've moved away from because people get so concerned about the thoughts and concerns of other people. So, quick little check-in. Any comments around the totems or artifacts or talismans that you might be using? So Julie says, I'm thinking of my grandfather's ring, but there are only certain things I attach to that at present. I guess I could work. Yeah, that's what you're attaching to it at the present. But I'm saying you can continue to build way more meaning into that ring as well. So it came to you and you've got certain sort of attributes, but now you can build it up and add way more meaning to it. Sarah, I'm a bit stuck on the totem. My field of play is when I'm hunting for clients. But this could happen at any moment in my day. An email I get, a social media post I'm writing, a YouTube video I'm recording. Yeah, but those are all events that you're creating. That's not a situation that's popping up. You're scheduling that, right? So it would be different because there's a question that had come in around someone saying, well, what happens when I'm in a networking event and I'm not necessarily selling all the time, I'm just meeting people, but there could be a sales opportunity that comes up, and maybe I can't put on my glasses in that moment. And I'd say, again, so many people get so caught up in, oh my God, they see me putting on my glasses and now I'm going into sales mode. No, people are so caught up in their own heads, they probably wouldn't even notice. And, it's not like all of a sudden you're hard grinding down that person in that moment. But, if if you notice that there's some sort of opportunity, then, you know, putting on your glasses could be something you do, or, you know, twisting your ring if it's upside down and then you twist it. And now it's like, no one's going to notice that you did that because you can do it so subtly. Or, you know, even doing this, I had talked about in the FAQ video that a client of mine, because she always has a bit of a strand of hair that kind of falls down her face, she does this and tucks it behind her ear. And that's when she's sort of activating her alter ego without putting on a pair of glasses. Like, there's so many different tricks and tools that you can be using. But in your case, you're actually scheduling stuff. You're deciding to shoot a video. You're deciding to write an email. You're deciding to respond on a social media post. And then if you're constantly on social media, then why don't you schedule the time from 4 o'clock to 4:30 to go and hunt for opportunities? Now you're being far more intentional with your calendar. I mean, this is all stuff that I talk about inside 90 Day Year too. Kyle says, the totem piece is really helpful. My concern is that I will fidget with my physical totems too much, old habit, on video or during speaking events. No, Kyle, stop bringing yourself to that situation. Again, you're conflating the two. Kyle shouldn't be showing up there. So, you know, be very intentional about how will your alter ego deal with that? And then when it happens, use the ground punch to send Kyle to the sidelines, or whatever you think that might. It's like, hey, Kyle, stop touching my totem. Hey, Kyle, stop fidgeting. You know, this is not what I am. What I am is an extremely confident, self-assured, and powerful individual that shows up to serve people in a very decisive way. So I get that you've got some sort of narrative that isn't about confidence, but that ain't on this field to play. So bugger the fuck off. So, you know, that's the conversation. And some people get caught up in the whole, yeah, but I don't want to talk to myself that way. Yeah, well, also don't forget that your current version of what you think you are was built up over time. So even though we use the name Kyle, we know that that's not what you are. But you think that you are that way. Like, it's a total mind screw for a lot of people. But like Kyle, you know, whoever the alter ego is, wouldn't be fidgeting. I get you're projecting. You're projecting how you would know. Again, disassociate. That's the power. That's what this is. It's disassociating ourselves from it. Because when you start to really act with intention with it, you would think about, like, how would my alter ego be dealing with my artifact? You know, because Wonder Woman, when she has on her gear, knows that it carries with it some superhero qualities, superpower qualities, sorry. Right. And that's the same level of attribution that you want to be giving to that totem, that artifact, that, like, out there on that stage, like, whew, there's just a completely different individual. Beyonce talks about it in multiple interviews where she actually can't recall many performances because it's such an out-of-body experience for her, which, because she doesn't have the language to describe it, because she doesn't know it, but what she's actually communicating is that she's getting so locked into zone and flow state. And zone and flow state, the common experience of people is they can't even remember what happened. And some people go, oh, be so. No. Why do you need to remember everything? Who cares if you don't remember it? Beautiful. What cares? What matters is the performance that happened. It's a surrendering to it, right? That's sort of one of the key terms that that I'm constantly hammering away at with private clients, whether it's in sport and business. I was just talking to a lady yesterday who's sort of, you know, new and back into my world after leaving one of my higher level programs, and we're doing more one-on-one work together. You know, kind of left one of my programs, kind of went away for 1.5 years to strike out and, you know, just do her thing, and was coming back because she felt like she had messed up her business model. And just on the call yesterday, I was like, why are you trying to force so much stuff? You already know this stuff. Like, surrender to the fact that you can trust that you've got the skills. Surrendering and trust, super important. Surrender to the fact that when you're activating that alter ego, whether it's a ring or a pair of glasses or whatever it is for someone, Surrender to the fact that you're going to know. Your alter ego is going to know how to act without the fidgeting. So hopefully that helps, Kyle. Great stuff, Carrie and Nash. Nick says, I've been using an alter ego at the gym and it's been great. I put Nick aside and embody the alter ego. I want to combine two characters to do stand up at an open mic, but I'm afraid of being too much like the comedian I want to use. Sure. So you can be taking inspiration from them. And so many comedians, like there's so many things that that could be similar amongst them, but there's still it's the perspective that matters, right? In comedy, it's the perspective. It's the way that you're coming at the thing. There's this new Netflix special from this guy, Neil Bargatze. I'd never heard of him before, and I'm a massive comedy buff. It's my favorite form of entertainment. And I love his delivery because he's very like sort of matter of fact and very sort of flat with his delivery. And I find it just so hilarious. So yeah, you don't want to copy, but there is some mimicry that has been a gateway for many people. And many comedians have talked about the fact that when they started out, they tried to be too George Carlin-esque. But, you know, they could only come to that conclusion by what? Getting on the field of play and acting. And so then when a new comedian comes along, like you, Nick, you go, well, okay, so that person says they shouldn't have been so, yeah, but they could only have come to that realization after the fact. Right? So don't place so many obstacles in the way of you getting out onto that field. Absolutely, Kyle. Marina, I have a blue pen, which I got from a mentor, and a pebble I use from a meditation. We'll need to develop the connection to them, one for closing sales and the other one to be bold and a great speaker. Great. Vera, I answered your question in one of the videos. It's up in the Facebook group. She asked the question, what do you do when you lose your, and it's not a token, Vera, it's a totem. So I answered your question though, but so the video is up in the Facebook group for you. All right. Adrian says, aha here, didn't know what I was going to use for my totem. Just realized I have a bracelet that says be fearless, and that is one of the qualities of my alter ego. Thanks. Great.